Okay. All right, let's check if we're live. Hopefully. Yes, we're live. Fantastic. Fantastic. Right, first things first. Welcome, everyone, to a live edition. I hope you can all hear me fine. Let's turn this down a little bit. And let's bring up a video just to get a style, just to get me in the mood a little bit. This is my old band, Bone Mud, back in the day. We're a heavy metal, almost like a Limp Bizkit, Rage Against the Machine sort of style music, which I shall bring up for you now. Okay, let's do this. Quality's a little shit, I know. What are we doing? Obviously, I'm the drummer.
You get knocked back down to the ground. I don't give a fuck what you stole, what you broke, what's untold. I don't give a fuck.
There we go. Just a little taster for you guys. So, first edition, live edition. I have absolutely no idea what I'm doing. I've got a few notes with me. So, the main purpose of today's video is that I found a very interesting YouTube video in regards of April the 8th, specifically the solar eclipse. His name is Diego Vieira, genius to the real genius. I think that's right. I'll bring it up in a minute. But he put a video out yesterday talking about, it's going to sound absolutely batshit crazy, about King Charles is actually dead. And they're holding off his announcement until the eclipse, which would be the 8th of April. Now, we're going to get a partial eclipse. It's not going to be like a full-on, solar eclipse that most likely America is going to get. But nevertheless, he's come up with some very interesting, put the pieces together in terms of, say, esoteric knowledge, symbolism, stuff like that, because he brings up a video that describes what is to come to a certain extent. But we're going to show that a little bit later. We're only going to spend an hour today. I'm going to be finishing around about 9 because I'm going to be on Alien Addict's channel. Talking about I can't remember what we're talking about today. Sorry about UFOs. So let's bring up a photograph, because a number of people come up to me and say to me, "Do you know Graham Hancock? I keep on hearing you know Graham Hancock." I say, "Yeah, of course I know Graham Hancock." And here's the proof in the pudding, as one would say. I never talked about how I met him, which we're going to do now. Let's bring up me a bit bigger. Let's have a little look. I'm so not used to StreamYard. And I've been taking inspiration from... Where to? I always use this one. From Ashton Forbes. Which I appreciate his momentum just to sort of keep going on his live streams. Was incredible. So here is me with Graham Hancock. How did I met Graham? Well, before COVID, no, it was bang on COVID. So this was the lockdown which we had here, which was March of 2020. It was March 2020. And I got a call from Samantha, which is Graham's wife. And she says, "Oh, could you come down and saw one of our gardens out?" I was like, yeah, sure, no problem. Not knowing who Graham Hancock was at the time. So I went there, spoke to Samantha, really, really nice conversation, saw that the garden, and then eventually had to go back to their place to pick up payment. And this was the time where, like I said, when lockdown happened, there was no one in the street. It was so bizarre. I've never been in a situation like that where it's normally where he lives, which I'm not disclose. He has disclosed in the past where he lives, but for the sake of it, I'm not going to say anything. It was dead. A ghost town. I think I've got a video somewhere. And normally the city is pretty absolutely busy, and it was just such a surreal experience. So anyway, I finished the garden. End of the day, I ended up going to his house, Graham Hancock's house, and knocked on the door. And then Graham answered the door. And at that time, I wasn't really looking into like Graham Hancock and stuff like that, especially his work into ancient history and stuff like that. And then he opens at the door, and I go, I know you from somewhere. Where the fuck do I know? I know you from somewhere. I didn't say anything. And he said to me, if I remember rightly, once all this shit is over, which is talking about COVID and lockdown, we'd have like a proper meetup and all that. And I was like, yeah, sure, no problem, no problem. And I remember driving home going, who is this guy? Who is this guy? I know this guy from somewhere. I'm pretty sure I've seen him. And it was the day after I went back to the house to finish off the garden. And I spoke to Graham's daughter-in-law, and I said, who is your stepfather? To the daughter. And she goes, oh, it's Graham Hancock. And then bang, I was like, oh, right, holy shit. But this was obviously before Ancient Apocalypse. And he was on Joe Rogan a few times, which still got millions of views, nevertheless. And from then, I was like, yeah, I've spoken to Graham Hancock many, many times. It's a big fan of your work. Sort of refresh my memory to a certain degree. But it's been years since I really studied into Graham Hancock's work. And I had some really good experiences with him. Great chat. We can speak for hours because we're on the same wavelength when it comes to the world and history. It was a great experience. So I can put that on my CV. Like, yes, I met Graham Hancock. But I really wanted to get him on Alien Addict show. Because this was before I went on Alien Addict. And I tried promise to get Graham onto Alien Addict show, but it's been over a year since I last saw Graham. Unfortunately, me being a professional gardener by trade, clients come and go. It's one of those things. And I think most probably why he stopped talking to me. Now, this is just going off a whim here, but I started telling a lot of people that I know Graham because my guitarist, my band, for what I showed you, the beginning of the music video, the guitarist in there, he's a massive fan of Graham Hancock. And I said, yeah, I know him. I know Graham. And he was just like losing his shit saying, mate, you've got to meet me. You've got to get me to meet Graham Hancock. I was like, well, we'll see. So I started telling people, and I'm pretty sure Graham said to me, yeah, don't really tell anyone. But anyway, it's one of those things, clients come and go. I've had many clients over the years being a gardener. I treat them like friends. I try to build a friendship with them, but eventually they move off to, either he's moved house or something. I don't really know. So it's been over a year since I last spoken to Graham, and this was the last time I saw him. I think I've got like a voice record of him. I was trying to get an interview with him, but he's quite reserved as a person. I don't think he really goes out and sees friends, according to his wife. But I should be very careful what I say. I don't want to sort of go into like personal matters. But yes, I have met the man himself, and had some pretty good experiences, if you know what I mean, about that a couple of times. Yeah, it's been good. But I wish he would contact me at some point. It would be nice. It would be nice. So Graham, if you're watching, please contact me. And not necessarily doing your garden, but just like a chat. But I got one of his books here. He given me. Oh, bloody hell, what is it called? It's one of the most popular books. I can't. Oh, bloody hell, it's slipping my mind. Big thick book, and he managed to sign it for me, and he managed to sign another book for my dad as well. But he's a really nice guy. Honestly, he's real sound. No problems at all. And I know people got a bit of a stigma that he can come across as a bit like angry and all that, but I've never seen him like that. I think people get their good and bad days, don't they? They really do. So yeah, that is me with the man himself, Graham Hancock. So let's talk about why the lack of content on my channel. And there's a reason why there's a lack of content. It's because if you go back to my debunking video on my YouTube, hey, Rotary, how's it going, man? I hope this might come up. Yes, it does come up. How's it going, man? Glad you can join me. Oh, Rotary, by the way, I'm going to show a 9/11 toasted card video in a bit, which I want to do a live stream on at some point because that is just immensely fascinating. So yeah, glad you can join me. Glad you can join me. And I'll be over on Alien Addict in an hour's time. So yeah, the lack of content. If you go back to my debunking video, hold on, I'm just going to spark up. You can see how pissed off I am. Oh, what time? It will be 10 o'clock, mate. Yeah, 10 o'clock normal time. If you're in America, I think it's in an hour's time, basically. I'm not too sure if you're in America or not. So yeah, 10 o'clock in an hour's time. So yeah, ufology's really, it's done a number on me, I have to admit. I started watching, Cambion, Lou Reviews, and Rich Giordano goof on. 3 big ones. They're very, I wouldn't say skeptical. Well, yeah, they are skeptical. What am I talking about? But it's put me in a very strange mind frame of I must dismiss everything, not to have an actual, UK time, mate. Yeah, UK. Not to have a. I just became really skeptical and not having a broader aspect of what made me interested in UFOs in the first place. And you can clearly see on my debunking video how pissed off I am. It was to do with the Miami aliens, and there was a photo that brought up, which was clearly faked. That was basically 2 years ago. And someone uploaded it saying, this is an actual real photo of the Miami alien. I'm going, hold on a minute. Yeah, Cambion laughs. Yeah. I can't do it. I tried to mimic his accent. I can't do it. But it was such a sour note for me, man. It's just, I lost the enthusiasm of what made me interested in UFOs in the first place, which was aliens, UFOs, Roswell's, all these sort of old UFOs, sort of sightings in the past. So I've taken a step back, especially from research and actually flying saucers, because it is a full-time research. It's not like I do it for a 1 day a week. It's literally full-time research, and I just had to step away. Yeah. Still full bore. I didn't listen to the yeah, I'm the same, mate. It's just a complete fucking burnout. And it's the same with the Arrow report as well. Who didn't see that coming? Honestly, Arrow, like I said, is just Project Blue Book. Just Project Blue Book. It's just a way to actually sort of poo-poo or dismay any sort of UFO reports and sightings and saying it's old-fashioned, like blame it on the Avrocraft. Jesus Christ. It's just absolute nonsense. Absolute nonsense. So I believe Sean Kirkpatrick has not seen the evidence. Has definitely not seen the evidence. We got here. So, Rody, I'm going to be a bit slow because this is all a bit new to me. Maybe need to take a break due to burnout. Yeah, definitely massive burnout, mate. So I took a step back and I started watching Art Bell. Well, listening to Art Bell's. He did a time travel one not long ago. Well, it was years ago, but I listened to it not long ago, man. And it was just so refreshing to hear, So I haven't really listened to Cambion or Lou. I did watch Lou video last week, and it was just, no offense, I've got to be careful what I say, but he sounds like a fucking, it's so arrogant. He sounds like Cartman. Like, he literally sounds like Cartman. Oh, cheers, man. Appreciate that. Yeah, cheers, Rotary. Yeah, Art Bell. Yes, Art Bell. Sorry, Art Bell. So yeah, it's been a mixed bag, man. I had to take a step in and out, sort of refresh the batteries a little bit. But I'm back, put a new content out. Well, I say new content, mostly shorts at the moment because I'm not an editor. I am definitely not an editor. I don't have patience for it. I do not have patience. But I've been putting out loads of shorts recently, and it has helped with the subscribers. Definitely helped with the subscribers. So without further ado, let's have a little look. What have I got here? I want to talk about 9/11 because there's something that I noticed that actually, well, first of all, 9/11 was the first conspiracy video I actually looked into. It was the first conspiracy I actually delved into, like real deep dive. And I believe that the World Trade Center, like many conspiracy theorists at the time, was destroyed by a direct energy weapon. No, sorry, controlled demolition, I should say. And I was on the fence about that because I'm going to show you a video in a minute with these toasted cars that made me go, hold on a minute, wait a minute, there's something not right here. But the controlled demolition has been pushed a lot as the main focus of what destroyed the World Trade Center. In my personal opinion, I don't think a controlled demolition can wipe out literally 90% of a building. No steel beams, marble, like literally marble, 80, like there's 100 tons of marble which evaporated into dust. There were no people bang out. So many weird things that were happening that day. And talking about weird things, check out. Oh yeah, here we are. And it said about the thermite. It ate the metal to dust. Yeah, the sheer amount of, I mean, for that, for instance, Rotary, the sheer amount of thermite that would need to be used to literally disintegrate the steel beams, the inter columns of the World Trade Center, which supported the building. It sounds a bit far-fetched, to be honest with you. You need so much thermite. And I know there were people going in and out before 9/11 happened. There was these workmen doing some stuff. It's hard to tell, man. And yes, there were explosions going off. There were definitely bombs being heard. But like Dr. Judy Wood said, not every single bomb that goes off, not every single sounding bomb isn't necessarily a bomb or something like that. I'm not really quoting her right. Not every single explosion is a bomb, basically. That's what I'm trying to say. So yeah, the thermite, it's a tricky one, man, because when the buildings fell, they had the massive heap. You know, there were these like massive lava pits of hot, molted metal. But if you have a look at the photographs and even the footage, they've got these oxygen hoses going over, just over the pile of heat. And I'm thinking, hold on a minute. You know, those oxygen hoses will be melting if you put in it over 1,200 degree heat. And also, there's still toe caps of the firefighters were melting. And I go, well, hold on a minute. You know, if, like, for instance, Dr. Judy Wood said, if my steel oven is on fire and melting, I'm pretty sure the turkey inside is more well done. So you have to take this into consideration. It's some very hot but cold feeling fires that were going on. And on this video here describes levitation effects. Let's bring this up. So this chap here is going to bring his account, and I hope you get to hear this.
Across the street. South Tower came down, I was across the street, and I picked up the camera just out of habit. And something in the back of my mind said, run, run, run. And never in 20 years of shooting in New York have I run from an assignment. But something in the back of my head just said, run. And as I hit the corner of Liberty Street, it was almost being picked up by a tornado, almost being picked up by a wave. It was like being picked up by the black cloud. That black cloud had substance. It was like night, but it had a solid feel to it. It was like gravel, hot gravel, and just picked me up and tossed me about a block. At 1 second I was running, and the next second I was airborne. And I lost my glasses, I lost my cell phone, I lost my pager, but managed to hold on to both cameras.
But it threw you for a block?
I was back down at Ground Zero last week and walked the area where I have a pretty good recollection of where I was and where I wound up. And it was just under a city block.
There was this blast of warm air. It wasn't hot. It was warm. And it picked me up and threw me up against the wall of the building that was...
You were picked up off the ground.
Physically picked up off the ground.
I remember an explosion. At that point, I got knocked out. I don't remember anything. Then I got up, and I looked out the window because the windows exploded, and the street below caved in.
Yeah, check this out. This is just, I don't understand this. You've got all these cars that weigh a lot. Bear in mind. Oh, hold on, brother. I've got your. Hey, John, how's it going, mate? Nice to see you. Glad you can join me today. Yeah, it does work. There we go. Yeah, cheers, John. Cheers for being here, mate. Yeah, the FBI agent, Rotary. Possibly the name rings a bell. It's been quite a while since I've been hardcore researching into 9/11. It's only because I've been watching Math Solutions videos recently, which I'll bring up in a minute. 3 days before the change of emergency phase. Oh, really? Oh, that's interesting. Well, that's new information I haven't heard of, mate. I appreciate that. Yeah, thanks for being there, John. Appreciate it, mate. But these cars, I don't understand. There was one photo I saw. It was a row. It was like parked cars, like 10 of them, all in a row. And just that one car flipped upside down in that parked position. I'm going, hold on a minute. What the fuck is going on? People were running down the street. I mean, they wouldn't get blown over from what I can see, but they managed to flip cars over. And look at it. Look at the wheel. Look at it. It's just absolutely destroyed, flattened, in fact. Again, another car. You've got even a vehicle at the back here. Yeah, this is it. This is the car. Look, so you have these cars here, but this one flips upside down. And just look at the state of it. You know, there's no really. I mean, yeah, there's debris here. It's most likely from this building here. But to get that car like that with hardly any sort of fallen debris is just baffling to me. Yeah, a collapsing building to literally flip cars over and not people. It's just staggering for me. And there was so much unburnt paper that day. So there you go. I had to find this YouTube video. It took me bloody ages. Hey, Eden! How's it going, bruv? 420, bruv. I got a 420 right here, man. You come spark up with me. It's good to be here, man. I hope you're doing well, bruv. I hope you managed to get your roof sorted out as well, because we had so much fucking rain during the winter. It's fucking horrendous. But man, thanks for being here, brother. It's awesome to see you. So yeah, the 9/11 conspiracy, which I really want to do one. Yeah, see you later, Hidden, if I see you, non-alien addict. Yeah, it's nice to get back into it, because my mum introduced me to 9/11 conspiracy back in 2007. So it's been a long time. And like many conspiracy theory people that would believe that a controlled demolition, I mean, possibly, I mean, yeah, there were explosions going on in the building, for sure. Absolutely, for sure. But not every sound of a bomb, not a sound of explosion is a bomb, which I'm basically trying to say. Man, I've smoked too much today, honestly. But let's go back to, yeah, this car here, just unbelievable how I managed to get into that state, which, oh, by the way, I've managed to save. Let's get rid of that. Stop screen, and let's bring up Dr. Judy Wood, because she was introduced to me back in 2010. Dr. Judy Wood, here she is. Which she was quite controversial at the time, because she is the one who's bringing forward that the toasted cars were to do with a direct energy weapon. The World Trade Center was destroyed by a direct energy weapon, which sounds so bloody outlandish, doesn't it? It sounds ridiculous. Yeah, that's cool, man, John. Yeah, and enjoy your dinner, mate. It's like the fires and the blue cars. Yeah. Oh, that's a good point, actually, John. When we watch the video, let's see if we can see any cars that are blue that are pretty much untouched. So let's have a little look into that. So Dr. Judy Wood, I admire this woman. I think she's extremely brave for her to come forward, and very ballsy for her to come forward and bring quite a lot of, I wouldn't say evidence, but suggest there was some sort of technology used on 9/11. And you can find very much a lot of her lectures throughout the years. This one is from Breakthrough Energy Conference of 2012. You should be able to find it on YouTube, but if you put Dr. Judy Wood in Google, I'm pretty much you can find a lot of her work. She's going to bring up the jumpers. I know that, which I'm going to skip because that still horrifies me to this day. So let's listen to what Judy Wood has to say.
We got to get to the toasted cars. I say they're toast, they're history. I can't say they're burnt because I don't know that, but they're toast. I just decided to use that word to say something happened, messed them up. You can't fix it, you got to get a new one. It's history. This is a police car found on FDR Drive. I don't know how it got to, I don't know where it was toasted. There were some that were witnessed as being toasted on FDR Drive. But this one is quite interesting in that it has an...
Yeah, sorry for stopping. I mean, just look at this car. This is what made me go, hold on a minute, wait a minute, something's not right. So you got one side of the car completely fucked inside and out, and the other side is fine. And if there was a fire inside the car, the fire would come out. And how come it's not burning the plastic lights at the top of the car? There's so many things that are just going, just doesn't really add up. But yeah, I'll let Judy Wood continue.
An abrupt, toasted, not toasted. Like it's like it's on the showroom floor. It just had a new wax job back there.
And no glass as well, yeah.
What abruptly stops a real fire, a regular fire, doesn't do that. It would be lapping around the corner. Also, why aren't the lights melted?
Yeah.
And you have the circular spot on the other side. Gas tank is still, fine. This is where all the toasted cars we're seeing that I'm aware of, as well as the toasted car lot.
Yeah, so I got to stop this.
The ones we're looking at were...
I mean, just look. I mean, the building that's here, it fucks all these cars here. But what about these cars here? I remember a testimony. There was an ambulance driving across the bridge, and they were saying that there were actually cars spontaneously combusting, half a mile away. Just makes no sense. And the car park, which is interesting. We'll continue.
Down here. And an emergency medical person said you could tell it was hot at the Trade Center because you could feel the heat from the bridge. But paper wasn't burning down here. How could somebody over here, 3/4 miles away, feel heat? Something that they perceived as heat.
And you said you saw melted tour buses, melted cars?
The cars that were right down there, it was just unbelievable. They were twisted and melted into nothing. The debris is just unbelievable. And then you can see fire trucks and police vehicles that were down there early that all their windows, the windshields are completely blown out must have been from when debris dropped.
But even more jarring, I think, is this scene right here. Look at these two cars placed on top of one another. I think when you think about the impact that these planes must have had, it's hard to visualize.
I don't know what to say.
Because everything melted. But here, at least you have some remnants. You have literally an engine that is melded together with other parts of the car. Moving over, you've got another car they moved to.
How does a collapsing building does that to a car? What? There's no debris. I mean, yeah, they probably cleaned it up. I mean, this was the day after. If I remember rightly, this was the day after. I mean, I don't understand how all these cars can get so fucked up from just a bunch of dust cloud. Makes no sense.
Here, it looks like it's been through a war. You can see the papers, all the burned out papers from the building. You see the soot and the dirt, and it just shows you how devastating this blast was. Look across the street there. You've got a Con Ed truck that, you know, some of the Con Ed people now looking at, examining, trying to figure out which truck that actually was. But that truck too, in terrible shape. So while many of the items, the steel was literally melted.
People who have been right down next to the base of what was the trade towers say there's virtually nothing.
Yes, we'll stop here on this toasted bus picture. Realize there's no burnt marks, no scorch marks. The toasted bus. But yeah, these poor reporters, they're doing the best they can. Remember, the evidence is the truth that a theory must mimic if a theory is correct.
Hold on, I see someone. Who's this? Who's this gentleman right here? Let's bring it a bit bigger. Yeah, terrestrial material. Hold on. There we go. Yeah. I see you later, man. I'm only going to be here for like another half an hour, just like a little live stream test. But bruv, thanks for being here. I can't wait to have a conversation with you in less than an hour's time. So yeah, come in and enjoy some 9/11 conspiracy, some toasted cars, which for me screams energy weapon. It's my conspiracy brain.
Correct.
Oh, hold on.
Starting out with a theory, if you haven't figured out what happened first,
Sorry, guys.
you're just solving an imagined problem, not a real problem. So it's so important to look at the evidence. As we've seen, the evidence is showing us a different story than what we were led to believe. Now this toasted bus, notice there's no big flame marks running up the side of the bus. No scorch marks. This is echoing. Oh. And then we have also this vehicle that's already rusted. You can see building 7 is still standing. Every car up this road was toasted in some way. Every vehicle. I call this the swamp. I think you can see why.
Good to hear it, Matt.
Is it the sound? Yeah. No door handles. Yeah. Not a trace of window glass. Just gone.
And building 7 still in the background on fire.
2. Oh man. More debris falling from a nearby building, the World Trade Center. We're at West Broadway and Barclay. Very difficult to breathe here, but look around. This must have been ground zero where this thing blew up. Car after car after car, buses completely obliterated and burned straight down to the steel. Behind me.
He was describing it the best he could. Here's more of that street. And notice no door handles. Now that in itself isn't surprising, but we're just noticing the patterns. It seems that door latches, trunk lid latch, this door, door latches and door handles were completely gone. Also, this looks like it was sandblasted, ready for a new paint job. Not a trace of window glass left in that. And that's what seems to be a trend with the toasted vehicles. Something happens to the engine compartment too, like this one down here. And notice again this distinct abrupt line between different parts of the car. Now, often folks say, well, it's just like any old burnt car. Here are burnt cars up at the top. Notice these rings of burn marks around it. And burnt cars also have remains of window glass. This is clean down here. And here we have traces of window glass left. And of course, there's a lot left there. But the ones on 9/11, there's not a trace. The ones that are seriously toasted. Doesn't look like these are uniform colors, like they've been sandblasted, ready for a new paint job. And the insides are completely toasted. I think they threw this stuff in afterwards. But the stuffing is still partly here in the burnout car.
Yeah, the inside is just gone. I don't understand that.
So there's a bunch of cars that appear to go into spontaneous combustion up in that parking lot. And we have various views of that. And my detractors often say, well, the cars were towed. You know, they were burned elsewhere and were just towed through junkers. But we have photos of them before, during, and after. Now, here's the toasted car. See how it looks like there's flame coming out of them, but the sea of unburned paper in between. The building's over here, the towers.
Take notice, there is no steel beams. There is no heavy materials that is falling onto this car park. It's just dust. Just put that into consideration.
And here again is tower still standing. And there's the untoasted cars that haven't been toasted yet. And there they are. They haven't been toasted yet. They're still in good shape. I actually thought this car was white, but I was surprised to find it was black. And here, it's still in good shape. People are evacuating. Here it is after it's been toasted. You can't tell it was a black car. Just all in a line. They just went poof. Weird fires. I can't call them a fire because there's weird things with them, like paper not burning.
Just going to drag this out for another 5 minutes, and then we need to move on to the other conspiracy theory I'm going to be talking about. The death of King Charles. So that's to come very, very soon. So, yep, another 5 minutes, guys.
This is where I call the swamp. Toasted cars all along through there. And the fellow who came out that door, he's probably the one that left it open, walked up West Broadway, and it was pitch black. And then he said, thank goodness the car started lighting up, because then he could see where he was going. He walked out of there up to intersection C and turned over towards D. And intersections along there, papers not burning. Here's the firefighters going for a lunch break. They come, doo-doo-doo. You know, they don't seem at all concerned that they're walking through this fire. They aren't worried about a car blowing up. Now, this is an interesting picture. Often we were shown this by certain individuals who would say, see, molten metal. But wait a minute, what's really going on here? This is an igloo cooler and a trash can that aren't melted. If this is white hot, then it's got to be, you know, hot enough that it's going to melt this aluminum. Aluminum melts at around 660 centigrade, and it's a kind of a barely a beet red. You have to be like 1,000 degrees centigrade in order for it to glow. So when aluminum's glowing and it's not a puddle, something else is going on.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll stop it from there. We can pick up sometime next week. But yeah, the toasted cars for me just screams something's not right. A controlled demolition can't do that. Even thermite, you know, if it was blasted off, you know, a mile down the street, I just people would have got burnt because of it. That picture frame is absolutely annoying me. Sorry, a bit OCD there. Yeah, I just don't get it. It's such a massive mystery, and Dr. Judy Wood put such a crazy theory forward that really gets blasted by a lot of people. I mean, I know Jeremy Reed, alien scientist, don't agree with Dr. Judy Wood, which is fine. You know, that's his own opinion. I mean, I'm not going to bash anyone who thinks that the World Trade Center was destroyed by controlled demolition and thermite. That's fine. You know, that's your own opinion. You know, I've got nothing against that. But for me, I believe there was something more nefarious about that. Now, my mum, my fellow conspiracy theorist, who we talk conspiracies on a daily basis, she said she could remember seeing a video, and it was a picture of the World Trade Center, and it was a helicopter, from what I remember her story was. And she said she can see like this laser beam piercing down onto the World Trade Center, and then 5 seconds later, the building collapses. Personally, myself, I haven't even seen the footage, and there's a lot of footage of 9/11 that is off the internet, especially all like the word shit. It's probably on there. We'll have to do like a real deep dive into it, especially on YouTube. But she says to me that she remembers seeing this laser being pointed, and then 5 seconds later, the building collapses. But the laser was coming out of the helicopter. Now, I don't think that sort of technology doesn't exist. I personally believe if an energy weapon was used, it most likely comes from space or from like a satellite. That's how far I'm taking this sort of conspiracy. It's all to do with, speculation, really. I've got no facts to back that up. But that's just my own opinion. Space laser weapon systems were talked about in the 80s. I know Ronald Reagan was talking about it. The Star Wars program, I believe they called. So I'm pretty sure they got something that's absolutely mind-boggling. I would honestly say that the World Trade Center and Building 7 were destroyed from the inside. And what I mean by that is the people that were trapped in the World Trade Center, who either had to stay there, either get microwaved to death, or jump out the building, which just haunts me to this day. There was one caller, I remember this woman, she says, "I'm really hot, but it feels like I'm burning from the inside out." And I cannot find that footage. Sorry, can't find it anywhere. I'll have a little look, but it's just some really strange stuff, which deserves so much to look at. But I strongly recommend, and I know Rotary, if you're still here, mate, you know who this guy is. His name, I don't know what this guy's name, but he has a YouTube channel called Math Solution. And my God, this is why I want to talk about it, because he put out a video, these live streams of the missing wing on the plane that enters the building. I am not joking. It not just one, but there's like 15 different footage of the second plane hitting the World Trade Center. And the right wing disappears. It actually fades out before it hits the building. Very strange stuff going on, man. But yeah, Easy Math Solutions. Go check him out. He's really spot on the money, in my opinion, when it comes to this research. Really, really top-notch stuff. So let's get to the main topic of today. Now, oh, by the way, this is transformative work. We are educating the public on everything we are talking about, and fair use is applied to this live stream, especially this video. Now, let's bring this up, because this gets, if you're still here, this is going to get very interesting, especially conspiratorial, because the king might be dead, and it might be announced, possibly, at the eclipse on the 8th of April. This YouTube channel called Israel Diego Rivera, genius to the real genius. Go check him out, guys. He's got some great stuff when it comes to conspiracies. And if you're watching this, Israel, yeah, I hope you don't mind me using your video, but I think you've got a lot of stuff correct when it comes to putting the pieces together, especially the video that I'm going to show now. So, guys, this is 15 minutes. I'm going to play all of it, but listen very carefully to what this guy has to say, because something might be coming in the near future.
More evidence that King Charles is dead. King Charles is brown bread. He is toast. And we have more evidence of this because he has just cancelled his visit to the church at Easter. So you won't be seeing King Charles at all. And his Easter message is pre-recorded, and they admit themselves it was recorded earlier in March. A couple of weeks ago, Russian media said King Charles was dead. I believe Charles is dead, and I believe this is all about the eclipse, and William will be king. The eclipse is connected to Lord of the Rings.
Sorry, guys.
Because it creates a ring. And this is all about the Ring of Power. And so if we look at IPEC Goat 2, now I'm not going to go through everything. I've made, in my time, nearly 550 videos on this channel explaining my thoughts on this. So you've had Obama, and he was at number 10 Downing Street, which has a checkerboard floor. America was created from Britain, from the Masonic lodges. And the founding fathers were Rosicrucians.
Sorry,
of
guys,
America.
a little bit.
The Rosicrucians, Francis Bacon, and John Dee wrote Shakespeare. We had the William Shakespeare. The first man to get it was called William Shakespeare. The Tsar, Stratford-upon-Avon. Tsar means Caesar. Shakespeare wrote a play, Julius Caesar. Trump was the father of the William Shakespeare. He's like Julius Caesar. The Tsar, the William Shakespeare Tsar was from Stratford-upon-Avon. That's Shakespeare country. You shake it before you spear it. We had the emergency alert on Shakespeare's birthday, St. George's Day. And Shakespeare died and was born on that day. And St. George's Day is when we had the emergency alert. I believe it's to do with La Palma or a meteor. So we have more confirmation that Prince Charles is dead. And I believe this will be announced when the eclipse happens, just before the eclipse. And the eclipse is an ill omen. And there's going to be major events. And I think you may even have a man-made meteor, which then causes La Palma, because we seem to have this in predictive programming. My channel is based on predictive programming, because I believe these events are man-made. And this is a script created by Freemasonry and Kabbalah. And America will be destroyed to be reborn. This is the end of America as it is.
Sorry, America.
So we have Obama.
You're fine, don't worry.
Remember, we have his film Leave the World Behind. We have the bridge. We have the guy who wrote the anthem is named after the bridge. He was a Freemason. The bridge is named after him. And he wrote the lyrics to the Star Spangled Banner, and which is also the flag. And we have the flag torn in two. Here we also have a ship in the background. We have the months. We have yin and yang, where we had the earthquake and tsunami here in Japan, yin and yang. It was on 1/1. We have the Super Bowl. We have March. It seems to be all connected with here, with Charles's death. We have Trump here. Now, I don't know if this is La Palma or it happens here. So I'm not sure if it happens here or here, because that seems to be that seems to be a tsunami. But there seems to be some event here, okay? She is sitting in the eclipse, and you have the Devil's Comet here. And this seems to be New York or the apple, the forbidden knowledge. And this is all about man has been fooled again by his material self, his lower self.
No, it's the Freemasonry.
William Shakespeare.
Flooring.
Okay? And these are events that create a new age and a higher self of man. This is what the Freemasons believe. And so she rolls the apple, and underneath the apple, we have La Palma underneath the apple. So I don't know exactly when it's going to happen, but you have La Palma underneath the apple. It's shaped like a heart. La Palma is called the heart-shaped island. And we go to the Lewis Carroll, because this is all to do with P. Diddy, Epstein Island. And if you look at the temple on Epstein Island, it looks like the Al-Aqsa Mosque. And this operation, which we have in Israel, is called the Al-Aqsa Flood. Al-Aqsa means palm tree. We have the steel toe cap, and it's on a sovereign coin. That's Charles. Charles' coin has St. Michael, and it has a canary on his ear. St. Michael slaying the dragon. La Palma.
Honestly, does this sound a bit too far-fetched? Like he's trying to add the pieces together to a certain degree by the smallest little indentations on this video. I don't know if that's the right word for it. But anyway, let's continue. Let's continue.
St. George and St. Michael are the same character according to the Rosicrucians. One represents the earthly, one represents the divine. And this is about slaying the serpent. And I believe it's about the end of America and then the rebirth of America.
You're fine, America. Don't worry. You're fine.
And it's all to do with the eclipse and Ramadan. So we have the new life, the lotus flower.
That's me at the moment.
And we have a winter at Easter. And the UK, right at the time of the eclipse, is going to be hit by a snow bomb. I reported this about a month ago. And it looks like it's going to happen this week. The UK is going to be hit by a snow bomb. So we have the snow, we have the wave, we have the flag, we have the ship in the background, okay? Ship hit the bridge, and the guy who wrote the anthem, the bridge was named after it broke apart, okay? So you have the symbolism there. So watch my previous video. So this is the end of America, and it's timed around Ramadan and the eclipse. And it's all to do with William. William is the Masonic Messianic figure. The Spencer family are related to the Washingtons. So there's the Devil's Comet, and there's the eclipse. Now, you also have the crescent moon. Well, we have a crescent moon on the April the 15th. Now, this is when the events are going to start, and it's all to do with the death of Charles. And also in the Illuminati game cards, you seem to have him playing polo, and you seem to have a projectile. So this could be some kind of meteor event, which then leads to the La Palma. This is what it seems to indicate. So it's to do with the eclipse, Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring, the Two Towers, and the Return of the King, which is William, the Masonic Messianic figure. And it's odd that William is going to be missing for a while before he returns, because I think there'll be a big event in that period of time.
Yeah, the red heifer.
And it's all to do with
right. I've seen that video.
The eclipse, and it relates to this advert, this Freeview advert, which seems to also relate to Charles. And this car could either be a Mustang or it could be a car called a Mercury Comet. You see the devil's horns here, 33 of Freemasonry, the snake, okay? And as it gets to the crossroads, all-seeing eye, you have the 33, war with Russia, but I believe this is about a war with China. And it all happens when Charles dies. And you see that Charles dies on the crossroads, okay? Now, what's important, there's the crown, okay? Charles dies. And they're at a crossroads. Now, what's important is that this eclipse is at a crossroads, okay? It's at an X, and we have the Devil's Comet at the crossroads. Remember, you meet the devil at the crossroads. So we have the Devil Comet, we have the eclipse, and it's at a crossroads, an X, okay? Something's definitely going to happen. And according to this, it will be a meteor. Then you have a guy doing a hoodie guy with a Rosicrucian sign with a sovereign coin saying shush. And then we have you have martial law. And then people are like it's in the outback. And then we have the Love Island. Now, Caroline Flack used to present Love Island. Her British TV presenter died in unusual circumstances. And when Kate Middleton's video was announced and all the speculation, there was also a lot of articles about Caroline Flack. Now, this seems to be La Palma, so I don't know which comes first, but it seems like the meteor might come first and then La Palma, and that is connected to the collapse of La Palma. But here you have Love Island, that's to do with La Palma. It has a palm tree as its advert. This is to do with the Rothschilds. The Rothschilds, they have a giraffe named after them. And this advert is supposed to represent Route 66. Even though it was filmed in South Africa, it's supposed to represent Route 66, the crossroads, the devil. You meet the devil at the crossroads. The crossroads is the eclipse. The devil is the devil's comet. That seems some kind of attack in football. This seems to do with the William Shakespeare, the effects of the William Shakespeare. Okay, zombie apocalypse. Red and blue are Freemasonry. And then we have the Founding Fathers. And we have a phoenix craft from Thunderbirds, which is a phoenix, coming from the mouth of the Founding Fathers, who are TV personalities. Remember, we are in the year of Pluto. Then we have the Masonic symbolism of the New Age. We find here that the eclipse actually forms a Pythagorean triangle.
Was Washington, D.C. Ultimately, when the final design was presented, George Washington chose to call it the L'Enfant Plan. Perhaps the most influential researcher into the L'Enfant Plan and the mysterious arcane elements of Washington, D.C. has been David Oveson, who wrote the book, The Secret Architecture of Our Nation's Capital. In his book, Oveson argues that the real mystery of Washington, D.C. is to be found in Federal Triangle.
What Oveson felt was that Federal Triangle was basically reflected from the stars.
Oveson's research, more than any other, confirms the idea that Washington, D.C. was built according to Hermetic principles, as above, so below.
So it was laid out to reflect what was going on in the stars, where you had a right-angled triangle surrounding the constellation of Virgo.
The right-angled triangle surrounding Virgo is partly reflected in the layout of Federal Triangle, and symbolizes the Pythagorean theorem. The theorem simply states that the base of a right triangle squared and the perpendicular side of a right triangle squared are equal to the third side, known as the hypotenuse. This theorem is said to be of unique and mysterious importance in Freemasonry.
It's interesting that in the third degree of Masonry, the Master Mason candidate is given several lectures. And one of the lectures, he is told to meditate upon the 47th problem of Euclid, which is also the 47th theorem of Pythagoras. And it's also known as the Pythagorean theorem, which is the sum of the square of the hypotenuse is equal to the sum of the square of the other two sides in a right triangle. And of course, everybody goes, huh? You know, what's that got to do with anything? But it sounds really impressive. And of course, it's never explained. You have to go and look it up. You have to take the initiative and go into a Masonic library or a Scottish Rite library. Fortunately, there was a huge one in Milwaukee where I live. And then you learn what they're being told. What they're being told is that, and again, symbols have different levels of meaning.
Not long left, guys.
And for example, the upright part of a right triangle symbolizes Baal. The horizontal part of the right triangle symbolizes the female, who's of course prostrate and passive. And the hypotenuse, which connects the two, that symbolizes the divine child, the Baal and goddess create. Baal and Astarte, Isis and Osiris, pick the name, they're all the same thing. They're trying to evoke the trinity, the pagan trinity of Baal, or Osiris, and Isis, and Horus.
So the divine child is William.
Yeah.
And we will see that the eclipse, if you calculate all the eclipses that went past America, we have a Pythagoras triangle. And William and Kate Middleton were born on the day of eclipses. And William was born when the sun was most high on the summer solstice. This is all about William. William is the Masonic messianic figure. He might be also the last king of England, as William I was the first of this lineage. It's all to do with William, these events. And before he becomes king, you're going to have this huge event, which I believe will be around when Charles is announced dead. So in the eclipse, we have an X, which marks the crossroads. We have the comet, which is the devil's comet. You meet the devil at the crossroads, and you have the Pythagoras theorem, which is about the star child, which is about William. So the eclipse and all astronomical and astronomy is about the measurement of time. That's why it's called Lord of the Rings. All astronomical and astronomy is to do with the time and how it goes round in a circle. And so this car in that advert may have been a Mustang called a Warhorse, or it might have been a Mercury Comet, again, relating to the Devil's Comet. We have Kate Middleton, she's brown bread, and Charles is brown bread. They both won't be around in Easter, and William is missing. And he's missing because there's going to be a big event. And just in time, we have the snow bomb in the UK, timed exactly at the same time as the eclipse. Thank you.
There we go. Wild claims. But you have to admit, it's quite impressive putting all the connections together. America, don't worry, you're fine. You're absolutely fine. You're going to be there for a long time, you know, so don't panic. Don't panic. It kind of reminds me of like 2012 vibes, you know, that everyone was more or less speculating. Like you said, Terrestrial, you know, people are, you know, making more predictions now. It's a crazy world we're living in. It kind of is. No, it is. It's definitely a very strange sort of world. But to say that, I mean, first of all, you've got the Kate Middleton fake video, which is definitely fake. I mean, come on, if you look at it, you know, I pulled out an article from the Telegraph the other day, and it was just basically shitting on conspiracy theorists. You know, they had this professor of this established university basically saying, yeah, these people are just trying to find nitpicking the smallest little things. But when Kate Middleton's, whatever her fucking name is, when her ring disappears during the video, it makes no sense. The static background, especially someone who's gone through cancer, her hair is all perfect. I mean, I've seen people that had cancer or dying of cancer. Their facial appearance changes, you know. So it's just things that don't add up. And because we're conspiracy theorists, we go, hold on a minute. But AI is just unbelievable these days. It's quite scary. It's quite scary. But nevertheless, this video really got me going. I was like, oh, I am revving for the 8th of April. Put it in your calendars, guys, the 8th of April. And we shall see what happens. Right, we're coming up to 9 o'clock, and I'm going to leave it there. So if you want to see that video, let's bring it up again. It's called Israel Diego Rivera, Genius to the Rude Journalist. I'll put the link in description, guys. I'll put the link in description so you can have a look at it for yourself. And yeah, first live stream done, out the way. Had to be done. I've been holding it off for quite a while, but it's finally nice to get it going and see what happens. So it's mostly going to deal with conspiracy theories, probably a bit of like UFO stuff. We'll see. I'm going to try and get this done at least once a week, possibly on a Friday. We'll see. So we should see what happens there, man. And Roderick, thanks for being here, bruv. I really do appreciate you. You're always on the podcast scenes, and seeing you in a live chat is amazing, bruv. Absolutely amazing. So yeah, appreciate you. Thank you. And everyone else in the chat, Terrestrial Material. What else we got? Oh yeah, John as well. Yeah, thanks guys for being here, and obviously Hidden Underbelly. So before I leave, a bit of a positive note, because I keep on hearing very depressing things at the moment. Yes, the world is going absolutely batshit crazy. It's like circus world. We're living in oh, thanks, she pop. Sorry. Yeah, it's all gone a bit shit, hasn't it? And because we're conspiracy theorists, we tend to do deep dives into the conspiracy land. And like I said one time on a podcast, I think it was Terrestrial Materials, your podcast, there's no conspiracy theories that bring warmth to the heart. Okay, it's always bad. And yes, because we look at conspiracy theories all the time, especially me, that's what I'm just interested in it. And I'm not saying I believe all of it. It's just a topic or topics I just find interesting. But I'm just going to say this. Don't fear. Okay. Yes, things have gone to shit, but things get bad before it gets better. Okay. So don't panic, don't fear. Things will work out. We're here as one unit. We should all work together and do the best that we can. I think I'm rambling on bullshit here. The idea is just, I mean, I started to notice people are starting to wake up. I'm talking about topics to the normal people in the general public, and they're starting to listen to what I have to say. And I think people are starting to wake up to the shit that's been going on around the world globally, whether it's politics, wars. By the way, this bloody nuclear war, World War III, I've been hearing it since I was a kid. Okay, weapons of mass destruction. You had the Cold War. Oh, World War III is going to happen. If Putin was going to launch a bloody nuclear missile, he would have done it by now. So let's stop listening to the mainstream media. Oh, World War III is going to happen. Putin's going to destroy America. He's going to target America. Give me a break. I don't think Putin's that stupid. Okay, because it's just going to be a chain reaction. So stop listening to what people have to say, especially the mainstream media, all this fear mongering porn. You know what I mean? I just try to stay positive, and I've started to notice a change in people. People are starting to wake up, and it's a nice change, I should say. But things will work out, guys. Okay, things will work out, and try not to get it. It makes me depressed sometimes. I wake up in the morning and think, "Oh, I've got all this shit to deal with around the world," but that's there to keep you in a state of fear, stress, depression, and it's no good. And I'm just done with that. So, yeah. I'll leave it with that on a positive note. So don't fear, things will work out eventually. Okay, so I shall see you very, very soon, guys. Oh, and check out Alien Addict in an hour's time at 10 p.m., which is, just an hour's time. I don't know what we're talking about, to be honest with you. Something about UFOs. So yeah, check us out on Alien Addict in an hour's time. Thank you so much, guys. I shall see you very soon.